This is, I think, my fifth time presenting at MIF. So for those who are MIF veterans, I'm going to try to breeze through the intros that you might have seen before. I'll give context for what I'm going to talk about, but I really want to talk about not just the one drill hole we released last week, but what the implications for that are, what the regional exploration we did is, and where this project's going. One of the things that as a new company, we did an IPO, and something we take very seriously is a nice tight share structure with only 30 million outstanding. We have never issued a warrant for any of our financings. That's really allowed us to keep a share structure well managed, 23% owned by management, resource capital funds in there for quite a bit, and a large block held by insiders and associates. I think when you're looking at the things that can contribute positively to a company's success, a great share structure is one of them. Probably more important, not surprising than a great share structure, is a great project. Probably a necessary prerequisite for a company's success. We think we really have that here. So the Macmillan Pass project is located in East Yukon. This is a mining-friendly jurisdiction, a storied jurisdiction for mining. The two deposits we have there, Tom and Jason, we released a resource update on them earlier this year. 11.2 million tons indicated, 39.5 million tons inferred, both around 10% equivalent. By all accounts, that makes this a near giant zinc-lead-silver deposit. So in context, what I've highlighted in this slide is the world's deposits that are greater than 7% equivalent and greater than 50 million tons. With the acquisition of Arizona Mining by South 32, which you can see the Taylor deposit kind of in the middle there, we are now the only junior left on that list. And that really should highlight exactly how special what we have is. This is not common for a junior to be sitting on something that's so unique. And it's not enough to have a globally significant resource or a world-class resource. The question is, can a world-class resource become a world-class mine? So when we did our PEA earlier this year, we understood the cynicism around the project. We understood that this project is remote. There is a road to it. The road needs a bit of work. But we wanted to fundamentally answer the question, is there margin on the tons there? I could have 3, 4, 5 times as many tons. If there's no margin, it does not matter. So what the PEA established was that there is margin there, that you can economically, potentially, as much as you can say with any certainty with a PEA, which is a loose study, that this is looking very positive. And this scratches the itches that you need for a base metal deposit. This is multi-cycle with an 18-year mine life. This is a large-scale production. This is, a north of 20% after-tax IRR. This is an after-tax NPV higher than your CapEx. This is kind of everything you're looking for when you're looking for a big base metal asset. And I don't want to dwell on that, but what does that mean, and where does that put Fireweed's Macmillan Pass in terms of global development projects? So if you look at the size in terms of the contained resource of the development peers, Arizona, now South 32's Taylor project stands out, and the next largest is us, quite a bit ahead of the rest of the peers. And in terms of scale of production, we also stand up there as one of the biggest potential scales. So this is not just about, look, you can ship X million tons. This is about, how long can you do that for? What is the total production profile? When majors and mid-tiers, et cetera, are looking for projects, they want to know that investing in a new region is going to pay off, and that after the learning curve is done, they have a generation of production there. So, there's our little buddy Justin there. Say what you will, he likes infrastructure, and committed to, with the Yukon Territorial Government, $360 million to infrastructure investment in Yukon. One of the things about our PEA that we felt was important was that we didn't get too aggressive on anything. The industry insiders in this room will not be surprised by this statement, but perhaps the outsiders would be. Engineers are remarkably pliable. If you want to push them on your engineering study, if you want the numbers juiced, you can always push them until they change an assumption. You can come up with better numbers. We could have come up with better numbers if we were willing to reduce the credibility of our study. To the average retail investor, they would not pick that up. The issue is that I need to be able to take my preliminary economic assessment and put it before the big mining companies in the world, and for them to open it and read through it and not roll their eyes. As soon as they find something that there's a deep skepticism about, they know that they have to go back to first principles to evaluate my project. So for example, things such as the pit wall angle, we were very conservative about. We've done a bunch of work this summer on geotechnical work, trying to figure out how and to what degree we can steepen up our pit walls. That makes a remarkable difference in your economics in terms of strip. We assumed 100% of our waste rock was acid generating. We know some of the units have carbonates that can buffer that, but in the absence of full data to that effect, the safest thing to assume was that 100% of it is acid generating and treated as such. So these are all things that we're doing that perhaps are not as exciting as a barn burning drill hole, but really make a huge difference in economics. And you know, all my past presentations prior to results this year, I've arm waved, as all junior mining CEOs do, about upside, 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 right? And this is a slide I've used in the past, and I don't want to dwell too much on this, but you know, we said, look, there's these high grade zones, we can step out into high grade. We think there's additional high grade tons there, blah, blah, blah. Can you deliver on that promise? So what we drilled this year and what we announced quite recently, this was a hole that stepped out into lower Tom East, suggested some structural complexity there. The intersection, 16 meters intersected, true thickness somewhere between 5 and 12 meters. That is a large range, but because of the structural complexity here, we couldn't with confidence say that it was anywhere specifically within that range. So we gave a nice broad range on that. But at 21% zinc, 13.5% lead, and 240 grams silver in a step-out hole, I think proves the thesis that I've been arm waving about, that there is more high-grade tons there. You know, and as Gwen said earlier in the introduction when she was talking about her various companies, one of the things that we really wanted to do, and we look at our PEA as not just a document for potential partners and retail investors, but it's a guide for management. How do we make this project better? What are the big risks and what are the big opportunities? And we knew that adding more moderate to low grade tons does not move the needle on this project. Making it a lot bigger but not adding tons that matter, it does not improve your NPV, does not improve your IRR. So we really wanted to do this year was target the high grade zones. And so what we did was, you know, we drilled 20 holes this year. As we announced in our last news release, 15 of them hit. This was the only one that we've had results for, unfortunately, but there's more to come. And we could have done 20 for 20 easily. I know where I can drill for days and expand the tonnage. It's just not good grade. So we really, you know, this should be taken as an example of how, you know, when you're targeting high grade, it is a bit of a dice roll, but when you hit it, it matters. And we've assembled this land position here, and I've showed this slide before, but these deposits occur, particularly in this area, along these basin-bounding faults. We believe we've traced that original basin-bounding fault. We think it's a reactivated regional fault. We think it sort of extends from Tom to Jason to end zone and beyond. This is the so-called fertile corridor, as we've named it. And what we did in this area was a whole bunch of additional work. We did gravity. We augmented that gravity with passive seismic to get a real indication of overburden thickness to correct for that. And we did some geochemical techniques which are a bit new, including soil gas hydrocarbons, which has given us quite a bit of love. So this is brand new. So this is the first time we've showed this to anyone. Well, I mean, this is just a geological map. But what you see here is you can see kind of the basin-bounding fault and the trend there from southeast to northwest, and you can see it's all buried under till. The issue with, so both Tom and Jason, the established deposits here, outcrop or subcrop, the discovery of them was relatively easy. In fact, the Tom deposit, you can walk right up and walk right up to the ground, and if Gwen's seen it, there's high-grade material right there. Everything else that we're going to try to discover in this corridor, you have to find some way to peer through this cover. And what you see here is our first pass. These are field-level maps, so particularly the gravity is very prelim. But end zone, which is kind of the black line in the middle there, this and over here, is represented by this coincident gravity high and magnetic high. As a feeder proximal system, it does have pyrrhotite in it, so it shows up within the gravity there. And then along that corridor, you see these continued magnetic highs. And this is a bit messy right now because this hasn't been fully processed, but this continued gravity high as well. If prior to having received this data, you had asked me to draw on a map where I expected or hoped to see anomalies, I would have drawn dots exactly along this corridor, and that's exactly what we've seen. So we're extremely enthused about this. So in summary, we think that the zinc market's rebounding. We don't think it's done yet. We think the recent drop was an overreaction to trade concerns. We believe we truly have a world-class deposit that could become a world-class mine. This is rare potential in terms of production, and we think that we're a screaming deal where we're priced now. Thank you very much.